here. Hello, my name's Krissy. I'm a mum of two, and in today's video, I'm going to share with you my top 10 tips and tricks when travelling with kids, especially on that aeroplane at the busy airport, what to expect, money saving tips, hacks, trips, you name it, I've got it in today's video. Tip number one, like I said, sandwich bags. Really, really cheap, really, really affordable. You can get all different sizes. The reason why I say to carry sandwich bags with you is because you can use them for so many different things. When you're on holiday, they're great for bagging up a few of extra bagels and bits from the breakfast buffet. You can use them to take almost any snacks that you want on the plane with you. I know, shock horror. You can take all sorts of snacks on the plane as long as they're in a Ziploc bag or a sealed bag. I also take the sealed type Pringles because they're so expensive when you're sat on that plane. It's the one thing my kids always gravitate towards, and they're a fraction of the price, aren't they, when you pick them up in the local supermarket. Number two, get to the airport early. Especially nowadays, there's been a lot of airline delays and things like that at the airports, and it's just been absolutely carnage. So I think normally you're meant to arrive 3 to 4 hours before. I make sure I'm there 4 hours before. Sounds so silly, but it's a great way to tire the kids out. Get in the airport, get checked in. If you can pay for early check-in, definitely recommend. And also if you can pay for queue jumps through the security, you can do a fast track. I know that we recently flew from Birmingham Airport in the UK, and it's something you can pay extra for, and it was great because we could just whiz through with kids, because kids are impatient, they get fed up, they get bored. So if you can get the serious part done, I would highly recommend. Thirdly, quite a lot of airports have soft play in them, so try and find somewhere, if you get there early enough, you can sit somewhere, have a nice coffee, buy the soft play, let the kids tire themselves out. And then that way you're not getting as stressed at the airport, because if you're anything like me, I'll get quite stressed at the airport. So it's nice to get there early so you're not rushing around and trying to run for when your gate opens. Another tip is, if you've got toddlers, small children, let them walk. I know obviously it's easier to pop them in the buggy and you rush in, etc. But if you can, let them walk because it tires them out. Also, I didn't know if you knew this, but you can book the airport lounge. It can be pricey. We did it because my friend got it for a perk for her job. So if you get any perks through your employer, have a look, because it might be one of them. I think you can save up club card points through your Tesco's club card and put it towards things like this. It might be just worth inquiring, because the lounge that we went to in Birmingham Airport, it meant that everything was free when we got in there. So the kids could have quite a lot of orange squash. We had a glass of Prosecco. There was like a little buffet so the children could just fill their boots. We took a few of the little mini muffins and put them in my plastic sandwich and put them in my sandwich bag ready for the plane. It's just good, and everything when you get there in there is free. If not, you can obviously pack a lunch with you or sit and have a nice coffee, let the kids play soft play. It's entirely up to you and depends on what your budget is. Tip number 3, I've already touched upon this, but you can take food on the plane. So I literally load the children's bags full of snacks. And also, did you know, if you have a baby, you can pre-order, if they're on formula, you can pre-order the milk at Boots or Superdrug, I believe, in the airport. So then that way you don't need to take it through passport and security. You can pre-order it there and pick it up. Yeah, so like I said, you can pre-order the milk and collect it whilst you're in the airport. That way it doesn't take account for your hand luggage, so it's really, really handy. And secondly, you can pre-order the pre-made up formula as well, which is great for on the plane, because it doesn't mean you have to measure anything out, and it's all there ready to go. You could just heat it up in some hot water. I wouldn't recommend using the hot water on the plane because it's full of limescale and they don't really clean out the teapots very well. That's what I've heard anyway. So if you can, take some boiling hot water in a thermoflask, or pre-order or bring with you the pre-made up formula. That worked really, really well for me when I had babies on the plane. It just meant it was easy and convenient. So yeah, just thought I'd share that little tip, although it's not relevant for me now because my children are 4 and 7. Tip number 4. This is a bit of a controversial one, right? But this works really well for me. The less hand luggage, the better. because we've all been there on holiday when we've got so much hand luggage, we don't know what to do with it, and you end up losing a bag. This has happened to me. Adam spent one of our holidays, went to Mallorca, and he spent the whole holiday in the same t-shirt, and we had to buy him one pair of swimming trunks while we were there because we lost all of his clothes in the hand luggage. I know it's tempting because you can take so much on with you, can't you? But I personally find put it all in the suitcase and keep it minimal in your hand luggage because it's less to remember, less to forget, and less to lose. I'll have my own handbag. I normally take like a beach bag, if I'm being honest. I just like a big bag that has one opening, doesn't have all different compartments, and I know that's controversial because a lot of tips and tricks I've seen online is mums with these carefully crafted bags with a compartment for everything. But we all know if your child's got a dummy, or they've hurt themselves. Can you hear my dog chewing that toy? If they've got a dummy or they've hurt themselves and you're looking for a plaster, you don't want to be looking through 1,000 compartments because at that time your brain goes to mush and you can't actually find the thing you're looking for. So I personally like just one big bag, just opens and I can see everything in it. Both of my girls will have a backpack and they'll have a few little toys in there. They'll have a spare change of clothes just because you never know. I normally pack pyjamas or something, shorts and t-shirts, something really simple, and that would just be an emergency if they spill something all down them. Another little tip, this all comes under tip number 4 really with the luggage, is I like to wrap up a few little presents that the girls really like a little Barbie or a little Polly Pocket or a little game or a little surprise, open an egg. Anything really that's going to keep them entertained, and I'll wrap it up in wrapping paper, and then for every hour that we're on the plane I'll let them open something. So if you're there for 2 hours I'll do 2 little presents. You can pick them up quite reasonable in the pound shop, in supermarkets, places like Home Bargains, B&M, things like that, and it just gives them something exciting to open, and it means if they're a bit restless on the plane there's something for them to do other than the usual colouring, crayons. I take everything on the plane, I'm not going to lie, because there's nothing worse than miserable children, and if I can keep them entertained and it means everyone around me is happy, it means I'm not anxious that they're crying or screaming. Not that they're like that now because they're getting a little bit older, but especially when they were little, like 2, 3. Also took those colouring books that you just add water, because you can get a little bit of water from a bottle and then they can dip their paintbrush in and make pictures. They're really good for when you're on holiday as well, for a rainy day or a quiet afternoon or something to do in the evening, etc. And last but not least, they're tablets, because we all know a kid, you can download them, can't you? You can pre-download all of their favourite cartoons, etc. They've got apps, they've got games, so yeah, they're a must for me. And then tip number 5, also make sure that they bring a comfort with them. So if your child's got a dummy, obviously bring that. If they've got their favourite blanket or their favourite teddy, a comfort that they really enjoy, bring that with them, because if they're getting a bit tired on the plane, they might want that and it might give them a bit of comfort to go to sleep, or it just might mean that if they're a little bit upset, it's something to give them a bit of comfort. Okay, tip number 6 is dress your children in layers, because you'll be surprised. It can be hot one minute in the airport, then sometimes the aeroplane can be freezing, and then when you get off the aeroplane it can be quite warm, so the children are constantly feeling hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. So by dressing them in layers, that way you can I tend to dress my girls in a zip-up jacket, so they can take the jacket off and have a t-shirt underneath if they're quite hot, and then if it gets quite chilly, they've got a zip-up jacket to put on. Another tip is just stress less. Try not to stress. I know it's really easy to get stressed. I've lost my SHIT multiple times when I've been abroad and been on the plane and the kids are having a meltdown, etc, etc. But just try to enjoy the experience. If they're going to moan, they're going to whinge, someone's going to get hurt, someone's going to cry, someone's going to need a wee at the most inconvenient time. But that's just all part and parcel, I think, of having kids and being on holiday. And if anyone has a problem with that, then it's their problem and not yours. That's the way I see it. When I had little toddlers, if they were getting upset on the aeroplane, I used to let them walk up and down the middle aisle, and you'll be surprised how many people would wave to them and find it endearing, because no one wants a screaming child. So ultimately just do what that child needs to get them through that flight, to get them through that airport. And if they are crying, don't worry about people that are looking at you. Just focus on yourself. The time will hopefully go quickly for you, and children are children, they're unpredictable. And I do also try and explain to my children what's involved. So if it's a long flight, try and explain to them it's going to be quite a long time. If your kids are older, maybe you could get them a watch so they can keep track on it. Just explain to them so they are aware, so on the lead up to it, they have a little bit of an understanding. This tip, believe it or not, I didn't realise this until recently. So quite a lot of us now in this new modern technical world will have wireless headphones, don't we? However, if you want to watch a film on the aeroplane, if you've got the screen in front of you, there's no way to connect the headphones to it. You need the, traditional plug-in ones. So make sure you've got a spare set for you, for your children, because they charge you like £3 a pop. And this works really well as well. When you're taking off and landing, obviously it can be tough on children's ears especially. So pack a couple of lollipops because they will love sucking on them, and then hopefully it'll prevent their ears from popping. Or obviously if your child's got a dummy or a pacifier or a dodie, whatever you call it, pack that as well. But I do find a lollipop, you can't go wrong. Take an empty water bottle to the airport with you. 1, there's free water stations so you can fill it up. And 2, it means you've got a water bottle at all times if they're thirsty, etc, etc. And 3, it's just good to have on holiday, isn't it? Just to pack some spare water if you need it. It saves you money having to buy endless amount of drinks. You can fill them up from the free water station in the airport, and it means then when you're on the plane, it does prevent you having to buy a drink if you're trying to save a little bit of money. And secondly, along with the water, if your children hate water, you can buy like double or triple concentrated squash. It's an absolutely tiny bottle for less than £1 in most supermarkets, and you just add a couple of drops of that into the water and it will taste like squash that they have at home. Because I do find you can't obviously take any squash over 100ml, and this is within that remit. That's all of my tips and tricks. I hope you found this video useful. If you're going on holiday soon, I hope you have a lovely time. And like I said, give this video a big thumbs up if you've enjoyed this, and comment down below. I love chatting to you all in the comments. But yeah, by no means am I a pro. I'm not a pro traveller, but these are things that I've found really, really helpful and useful. Some of them are pretty self-explanatory, but some of them I hadn't thought about until this year. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Much love. More safe spacing. Safe. They're a lot more space saving.